Jump scare. Hello, gamers. Welcome to the stream that never starts, according to that timer. I didn't realize it was broken. Listen, the timer never mattered. The timer is just there to lull you guys into a sense of complacency while I go get a drink of water and situate myself before stream. The timer never mattered. I never let the timer run all the way out. It's fine. Also, Chipflake, thank you for the raid. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. Welcome, welcome. We have just begun. The timer was the friends we made along the way. Indeed it was. But yeah, hi, been a bit. What's up, strangers who I haven't seen in quite some time? So, some stuff has happened since the last time I streamed, but I figured I'd get into that in a sec. So first of all, we're working today. We are working on, this piece is for two purposes. Number one, this is going to be a new piece of promo art for the comic because I realized at some point a while back that, I have never drawn an art piece with the entire main cast in it. And I was like, I need to do that now. I need to do that now that we've got basically the full cast accounted for. So, yippee! So number one, this is a new promotional piece for the comic. And then number two, since next month is Castoff's 10th anniversary, I will also be using this as the 10th anniversary mail club print. So I'm going to be doing that. Oh, I guess it's threefold because I'm also, you'll notice there's like these bars at the top and bottom. That's my safe area. Because if you will be attending C2E2 in Chicago next month, I'll have 11x17 versions of this print available for cool peeps who come see me in person. And I might have it like, you know, for the future cons as well. I'll probably also bring it to MomoCon. But yeah, so it's a multi-purpose piece. Yippee-ki-yay. 10 years, I know, my baby's in 5th grade. Although the characters have been around for even longer, because I went and found like the very first piece of art of Vector and Ariana that I ever posted, and they look so funny. Vector looks pretty similar. Ariana looks completely different. Well, she doesn't look that different. She's got like the anime Hime cut hair, but she's still blonde and she's still bitchy, because that's my girl. But yeah, I actually, I drew their old designs pretty recently because I did the stickers for next month's mail club. Is I drew the characters in their old designs, like their very original designs. Look at this fucking nerd with her stupid hairdryer gun. I love her so much. She's so stupid. And then I have Vector, who's barely changed it at all. I have Vector, who has barely changed it at all. So these are going to be the stickers for April. I just busted these out the other night. It's the characters in their very first concept art drawings. Guns will never be in Castoff. Yeah, exactly. But because this is not a gun, this is a hairdryer with a trigger. It was literally just like it wasn't even a real gun in the original comic. It was a spell pistol, which basically you just shoot magic out of it, essentially, and it just helps the magic go further. And like, so that's what she did with it. And it was dumb, so I took it out. It was stupid, so I removed it. But yeah, so these are gonna be the stickers for next month, and this shall be the print. But I'm finally to a point where I can have an evening to myself without having to worry about shit happening. So I figured I would take the opportunity and draw some dang ass art. So that's what we're doing, is we're streaming today. We're not gonna be finishing this today. This is probably gonna be spread across a couple different streams, but I'm in the spirit of getting ahead on my work a little bit. I'm like, well, I've already got the sketch, and I don't have much else I can stream, and I miss streaming, because I haven't been able to stream in like a month. So let's stream. Yippee-ki-yay. Okay, and there it is. Hi, Jared. Jared Sadewater, thank you for the 50 gifted memberships. Thank you, thank you. I appreciate it as always. If you got gifted a membership, make sure to say thank you. Appreciate it as always. I keep feeling like there's something touching my hand like a hair, and there's not, and it's bothering me, and it's like, hello? The phantasmal little touches. Probably like cat hair or something that I just can't see. But yeah, so in case you guys were not up to date on where the fuck Star has been, Star's been trying to sell her house and buy a new house. And it's going surprisingly well, but that process is just so involved that it's just taking up like all of my time. It's basically I've added a 5th job into my trench coat. The act of buying and selling a house. 2 separate houses, for the record. It's a pain in the ass, but soon it shall be worth it. Especially because soon I'll be in my new house. And I will have fiber internet. I'm so fucking excited. I get to break up with Spectrum. Let's fucking go. I get to throw their asses in the trash. Fuck you. But yeah, I'm very excited. I've been musing about the whole like house search process on Blueskis. I've been yapping occasionally. So I know some of you guys know a little bit, but basically, what happened is nothing really happened that's making me move. I just got to a point. So the place I live in is like roughly an hour and a half-ish from the closest city. And I moved up here to save some money because I figured, you know, I work for myself, I do all my work online, I can live anywhere with a post office and an internet connection, you know? And so, I moved up here because it was a hell of a lot cheaper, and so, like, my mortgage to buy a house was for, like, an entire house. Like, it's... My next house is actually gonna be smaller, because I'm like, I bought this house, and I got a good deal on it, but my god, it's too big for one person. There's, like, 2 entire rooms in this house that I just don't use. One's like a guest room, and like the cats will sleep in there sometimes, and the other was gonna be my craft room, and that never happened. But yeah, so, you know, I bought this house because it was like way cheaper than, you know, renting an apartment in Austin, and I could actually own the place, which was nice. And I lived here for about 3 years, and then the loneliness reached a peak, and I'm just like, I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of here because I'm mad about, like, you know, I have to spend an hour every time I want to drive into Austin, an hour in each direction, anytime I want to, like, visit friends or go to an event. And not only is it half an hour, it's also half a tank of gas for the round trip. And that's a lot of money. And no one wants to come visit me because I'm so far away. So I have this wonderful house that's perfect for hosting, and no one wants to come visit because I'm too far away. And I was just like, I had a little, again, a mental breakdown is too dramatic, but I just had a little moment where something inside me just snapped, and I'm like, I can't live like this anymore. I'm young. I need to be at the club. So we started this house hunt process earlier this year. I've got a family friend who's a realtor, and she's been great. She's been helping me with everything. And we were really nervous that it was gonna, like, well, I was really nervous. She was, you know, the picture of confidence because she has to be, right? But I was really worried that my house was gonna take a long time to sell because a lot of the houses we were looking at were like, this house has been on the market for 3 months, 4 months, 6 months. And I'm like, I can't put an offer on a new house until I sell my first one. What if it takes 6 months to sell? Guys, do you know how long it took for the first offer on my house to come in? Roughly 72 hours. Like, we put it up right before the weekend, and we had a couple of showings over the weekend, which, by the way, talk about awkward. I had to, like, people kept coming over to my house to look at it, And I had to just like go take an awkward walk around my neighborhood and just be like, there's people I don't know in my house right now. They're in my house right now with my kittens. Oh my God. Selling your house is weird. The home viewing part, I think, is probably the weirdest part of selling your house, because like I had to take all my anime girls down. I had to, you know, like make it presentable. And I'm just like, they don't know that this is the house of a fucking nerd. But they're in my house and they're touching my stuff and they're gonna be opening my cabinets. Oh my God. But yeah, so we had like 3 or 4 groups come to look at the house, and within 72 hours we had the first offer. The first offer ended up falling through for reasons I'm still not entirely sure about. I'm not entirely sure what happened there. It was weird. It was a weird thing, but we actually thankfully had a backup offer. We had a second offer come in like not long after the first one. And my realtor was like, oh, well, we actually already have an offer on the house. And they were like, well, hey, if that falls through, like, we're still very interested. And she was like, okay. And then the first offer ended up falling through. And so now we're selling to those guys. And it's just like, yeah, it's been a process. It's been a process. But yeah, and so then what stressed me out was like, okay, we found someone to buy the house. Now I have to find a house for me to buy a new one. And we went and looked at like so many houses, chat. So many. I didn't keep a count, but I think all told we looked at close to like 20 different houses over the course of like 3 weeks. And that's so many. And like all of them had like something weird about him that was just like, no. There was this one where it was like, it would have worked pretty well for me, but it had been on the market for like 6 months. And my realtor said that the reason it had probably been on the market for that long is because it was a 2-bedroom house. And 2-bedroom houses are apparently notoriously hard to sell because people need more space than that. They need the space allocated differently, like for families. And so I was like, this house would work super well for me, like me, one person. And what if I buy it and then I can't sell it because no one wants it? And I legitimately, the day after we went to that house, it was like the last house we looked at. And then that night I was laying in bed and thinking is like, okay, that house I do think would work pretty well for me. And then I had a nightmare about it. I had a literal nightmare about this house. I had a nightmare because also the other thing I didn't like about it was that it was a 2-story house. It was like this little kind of condo style house. But the staircase was very claustrophobic and I had a nightmare that it collapsed inward on me. And I'm like, well, that's an omen. That's a fucking sign, babes. Also, that one had a bathroom in the pantry. So that was also just kind of like a weird thing about it. So we didn't end up getting that one. But there was actually also like bathroom in the pantry. I'm not kidding. So like the layout of this house. So like the kitchen was here. And then the living room was here. And then there were stairs. And back here, there was like a little pantry. There was like the door to the garage, which is here. But then there's a bathroom right here. So it's like, hey, this is the only bathroom on the first floor. I can imagine like, you know, having friends over at that house and they're like, hey, Star, where's the bathroom? Oh yeah, go in the pantry. Yeah, this is where we keep our laundry machines, our cleaning supplies, our food, and the bathroom. It was very funny. We did have a giggle about the secret hidden pantry bathroom. Imagine stinking up that room and permeating into the pantry. Yeah. I keep thinking about that saying, you know, like, don't shit where you eat. This house, like, goes against that entirely. Finding the toilet paper would have been easy, true. But yeah, so what was more upsetting than finding houses that I didn't like, just kind of over and over and over and over again, was finding I've been calling it like the Starby Dream House, you know, like Barbie Dream House. I was like, I gotta find the Starby Dream House. We gotta find it. Like, you know, whenever I was like talking to my mom and stuff, that was like the joking phrase I would use. And so, you know, we found one on like 2 weeks after we started looking, one popped up that we found that we really liked. Like the layout was perfect. The size was perfect. There were like a couple of things I didn't like about it. Like it had black granite countertops, which is very much not my style. But I mean, they were nice. They were granite. You can't take that for granite. But anyway, what I loved about it is like it had this really pretty front office, and it had like these cool built-in like glass shelves in the living room, and it was super cool, and I loved it. But I couldn't put an offer on it because my house wasn't even on the market yet when we went to see it. But I was like, okay, as soon as I get my house on the market, which should happen in like, you know, 2 weeks or so, then I can put an offer on this house. And I mean, the house has been on the market for like 6 months. Surely it won't just disappear on me. It's been on the market for 6 months. It's not just gonna disappear in the next like 2 weeks. Chat, it disappeared like 48 hours later after we went to go see it. I was crushed, heartbroken. I was so sad. I'd already like started planning like what I wanted to do with the house. It was like, it had a cute porch. The background or the backyard wasn't huge, which is like one of the complaints I have about my current place is like the backyard's really big, so it's hard to maintain. And I was so crushed. It got snatched out from under us, and I'm like, well, okay, I guess it wasn't meant to be then. I'll find the Starby Dream House somewhere else. And a couple of days later, this like new house pops up on the market that's like beautiful. It's like this 2-story house, but most of the second story is open. It's got like a big loft space. And I was like, oh, I could use that loft as like my art studio / computer room. And like the kitchen's really pretty. The backyard's a little big, but there's a lot of trees and it's so pretty and nice. Chat, we didn't even get to go see that one. Like we had scheduled as like, hey, realtor, can we go look at this one this weekend in like 2 days? And she's like, oh yeah, sure, I'll put it on the thing. And like the day before we were gonna go see it, it got bought with like a full price cash offer, just sniped out from under me. And I was like, what the fuck? I was so mad. I didn't even get to see it. Although I guess maybe in the grand scheme of things, maybe it's better I didn't get to see it, because then my heart would have, if I went to go see it and then fell in love with it even harder, it would have been even more crushing to lose it then. But it's the principle of the thing, you know? So a couple weeks then passed. We've got the house on the market. We got the first offer, but then I'm like, okay, well, I have to be out of this house by the end of the month now because the people want to buy the house. I don't have an option for a new place yet. Nothing good has really popped up since the 2 Starby Dream Houses that fell through. What do I do if we don't find anything before I have to be out of this house? And so I started I was panicking a little bit. I was like looking at short-term apartment rentals. I was looking at like extended stay hotels. Cause I could, you know, just have stayed with my parents for a couple like days to weeks, but I didn't want to like have to run my business out of their house, and it would have been like really weird, and it would have been awkward, and my cats hate my parents' house because they have dogs. And, you know, it was an option that was on the table, but I was just kind of like, what the heck just happened? I'm getting alerts, and I can't see what the alerts say because they're too small. Who just did something? Jared, was that you again? Did you do something on Throne? I can't find my bookmark. What the hey? Hey, what the hey? I have to open it up again. It says anonymous. I know who that was. You're not tricking me. You can't trick me, Jared. I know that was you. Jared, thank you for buying the Dungeon Meshi box set. I appreciate it. I put that on group funding so that one person wouldn't buy the whole thing, but thank you, I appreciate it. Aw, that's so nice. Sorry, Star, you're not. You keep saying that, but you're not. Was the alert quieter this time at least? Was the alert quieter? Because I do think I adjusted the settings, or did it jump scare you guys again? Was it too loud again? Yes? Oh, good. Well, hopefully no one died. Okay, well, it does... I did lower it, so it should have been a little bit quieter this time. It wasn't too loud. Okay, good, because I did turn it down. And Dollar87, thank you for the super chat. I just helped a friend move to a new house just to get away from a crazy roommate. It was nerve-wracking. Oh man, yeah. Moving's tough, But thank you for the super chat, I appreciate it. But yes, so we lost 2 potential Starby Dream houses, and then I was nervous because, you know, you're checking all the new listings every single day, and you're just like, I don't have anything. Where am I gonna go? What are we gonna do? Nothing good has popped up in like several days, and I'm just, oh, none of these houses are good. What do I do? It was honestly kind of serendipitous. So what happened was, there was this one house that my mom had seen. Because my mom was helping me look for listings. She's retired. She's got nothing better to do. She helps me with stuff like that from time to time. I can like sick my mother on a task and be like, hey mom, I need a new table. And she's like, I will look at Facebook Marketplace every day. And I'm like, okay, thanks, mom. So she was helping me, like, you know, look at listings and suss stuff out. And the problem, though, is that my mother doesn't quite understand budgetary restrictions. She knows, but she'd be, like, sending me houses that were, like, $20,000 out of my price range. And I'm like, yes, mom, that's a very pretty house. Yes, it does meet all of the things that I want in a house. It is $20,000 more than my maximum budget, mother. And she's like, I bet you could bring him down. And I'm like, $20,000, mom, off their asking price? That's a lot. That's a lot. I don't know if people would go for that. And so she kept doing this. And, you know, like, she would send me stuff in my budget, and I would, like, show her stuff. I'm like, look at this one. Isn't it cute? And she's like, yeah, that one's cute. Look at this one. And I'm like, yeah, it's $10K above what my maximum price range. And I was, like, pretty adamant. I'm like, I'm trying to keep my monthly payment at a certain rate. So, and, you know, I ran the calcs. I did the math. This is kind of what my maximum is. But there was this one house that my mom saw that was in, like, this really nice neighborhood. And she's like, mother, or she's just like, so what about this one? And I'm like, I mean, yeah, it does look good. It looks good. The house is like, it doesn't look like there's anything super wrong with it. It's newly renovated, so that's nice. It's kind of cute. But it was like, nothing about it was really like wowing me, you know, just like from the pictures. And so I was just like, yeah, it's okay, but the price was like, you know, $20,000 out of my asking price, like out of my budget. And I'm like, yeah, it's cute, but it's not like $20,000 out of my asking price cute. And she's like, I know, but it's in a good neighborhood. Maybe we could at least go look at it. I'm like, yeah, I mean, maybe, but I almost feel like we'd be wasting the realtor's time. And so I kept brushing it off, but for some reason, she kept pushing it. He's like, are you sure you don't want to go see this one? Are you sure you don't want to go see this one? And I'm like, yes, mom, I'm sure I don't want to go see it. I don't think we're going to be able to get them down that much on the asking price. And she's like, I think we could, but okay. If you really don't want to go see it, then I guess we won't go see it. And I'm like, okay. So there was one afternoon a couple weeks ago where we were getting together for a family lunch. And on the way out of town, we were going to go look at like one house that had just popped up, and I wanted to go see it. Just, you know, on our way out of town. We were going to go looking at some other neighborhoods like Sunday, But I was like, okay, well, just because we're gonna be in the neighborhood anyway, let's go look at like this one other house. Because it seems like it's in my price range, and it seems like it's in kind of a nice neighborhood. Let's just go see it on our way out of town. And so we did. We went into town for family lunch. So it was me and my mom and my dad. And then my brother and his girlfriend were the ones that we were meeting because it was my brother's birthday. So we met them and we got lunch. And because they were with us, we invited them and we were like, hey, do you guys want to go see this house with us? And they were like, sure, we'll come see the house with you guys. So we went to go see the house, and the house was really bad. It was like 30K below my asking price, but it needed like 50K worth of renovations. And I'm like, ooh. And you know, the neighborhood looked nice enough, but like the overall neighborhood looked good, but the specific street this house was on was not very well taken care of. And it was kind of a shady street on this one neighborhood where it's like all the houses were a little bit more run down, and we weren't sure what exactly. The vibes were bad. The vibes were bad. It was like this really nice neighborhood, but there was this one little section where just the vibes were bad. And that's the street that the house was on. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, sure. You know, hypothetically, I could like, you know, gut this house, take the flooring out and put in new flooring that does not smell like cat pee. I could get fully new countertops. I could fix all the water damage. I could get a new AC and water heater and do all this shit and like completely re-landscape the backyard. Really make this house a gem. I could put so much money into this house and really make it my own. It's not going to fix the neighborhood. It's not going to fix the neighborhood. And, you know, we were just like sitting there talking about it. And I was feeling kind of demoralized at this point because I'm just like, we kind of just, you know, we're hoping that this one would work out because we're on kind of a deadline now because I got to be out of my house by this certain date. And this was like the best house that had popped up in the last couple weeks. And now I'm starting to get stressed because it's like, but what if like there's gonna be nothing else better? But I don't want to put this much money into that house. I'm not really that much of a DIY girly when it comes to house stuff. And so like all five of us and my realtor just sitting in the backyard and having this conversation together. And we're getting ready to leave. We're literally walking back to our cars. And my mom goes, hey, realtor. She like pulls my realtor aside because I said that the realtor was a family friend. The realtor is a friend of my mom's. And so she pulls her aside and she's like, hey, realtor. So there's another house like 5 minutes from here, like 5 minutes away in this like really cute neighborhood that Star doesn't want to go see because she thinks it's too expensive. But I keep telling her she could probably get the price down in her budget because it's been on the market for like 2 months at this point, and we're pretty sure that we could get it down. But she's too worried about the price, so she doesn't want to go see it. Do you think it's like 5 minutes from here? Do you just want to go see it? And my realtor was like, oh yeah, sure, we can go see that one. I can just like call him now. And I'm like, okay, Mom, you do your thing, I guess. I guess we had time to go see one more house. Long story short, we went to go see that house and I immediately fell in love with it. And it's like, it was one of those things where like the pictures were just kind of okay, but then you actually get in the space and it actually feels really nice. And like the backyard's a good size and there's no carpet that smells like cat pee. And it was like kind of recently renovated, so nothing super broken. And it was like, just, you know, all five of us are just like wandering around the house and we're all kind of falling in love with it simultaneously for different reasons. Cause like my brother's really big into gardening. And I told him basically, it's like, hey, I don't want to do yard maintenance. Do you guys just like want to have free reign over my backyard? My brother was like, yeah. And so, you know, the backyard was nice and flat and easy to take care of. And so but it's like not huge, but it's big enough to like, you know, put some garden beds and plant some trees and stuff. And like it's a good size. It's a little smaller than my current place, but you know, it just means that I wouldn't have an extra bedroom that I'm not using. And like it's got a lot of features that I really like. And so the one thing I was worried about was the price. And so I told my realtor, I'm like, that's kind of what I'm worried about. And my realtor was like, well, this house hasn't sold in like 2 months. I think they probably have that price set too high for a house this size. if we shoot them a lower offer, we could probably negotiate with them. And I'm like, okay, so what are you thinking? And she's like, well, we could probably easily get them back down to like, it'd be, you know, right at the top of your budget, but it would still be within your budget. And I'm like, if you want to try that, then sure. And so when my realtor actually put in the offer, she actually lowballed them a little bit more. She took it down, you know, like 20K, and then like snuck in another like 2 or 3K underneath it. And we're just like, they'll probably negotiate us back up to that hard line that is like the max you want to pay. And we'll see how the negotiations go. They took the first offer we sent them, and they're just like, they just really wanted to get rid of the house because it was vacant. No one was living there, and no one had been living there since like New Year's. And they're just like, okay, yeah, you want to give us money for this house? Yeah, take it, no questions asked. Just, you're only giving us this much? Okay, sure, there. And I'm like, okay. So that's what happened. Very serendipitous. We got the house inspection. There is literally nothing wrong with it except I have to bother a plumber to come in for like 30 minutes and like swap some parts out. It's like, okay, there's like a very slow leak here. You would just need to replace this little section of pipe. And I'm like, okay, how much should we ask them for that? And they're like, you could do this. The plumber could do this in like an hour. So just look up how much plumbers cost. And I'm like, okay, your mom is going to remind you about it for the rest of your life. I mean, see, that's the thing though. She's got such a good instinct for that kind of thing. It's a little bit scary sometimes. Cause like, mom actually sent me the listing for the first art job I ever got too. Like my job at the educational company, she sent me the listing. I had looked past it because I'm like, I don't know, that job doesn't sound fun. I ended up getting that job and I worked there for like 3 years. But yeah, so everything is going according to plan on that one. And then the selling of my current place is going pretty smoothly as well. So all goes according to plan and nothing crazy happens. I should be in the new house. I should be moving in like right at the beginning of April. So yippee! How much bragging did she do afterwards? Not really any. My mom's not really a bragger. She doesn't really do that kind of thing. She's just like, I think just the satisfaction of like seeing is like, I made my kid happy. Yippee! Is like good enough for her. That's what it seems like. But yeah, so it was a very cool moment because the fact that just by pure coincidence, we were all there, like the whole family got to be there the first time we looked at the house. And we all kind of fell in love with it for different reasons. And even my dad, who's like hard to impress, he's like, yeah, no, I don't see anything wrong with this. It seems like a good one for you. Because my dad's an architect. And so he like is very like looking at fucking everything. And he's like, but yeah, no, like even he didn't have anything negative to say about it really. And so we're just like all walking through this house. And my brother and his girlfriend are like, we can help you paint it. Because a lot of the rooms in the house are painted kind of weird colors. And so one of the first things we're going to do, like even before I move my stuff in, is we're going to paint the whole place. But we were just like, it felt very serendipitous, like the whole thing. But like, you know, it's nice, it's cool, because I was stressed out of my mind. I was absolutely just like out of my mind, stressed about like trying to find a new place and what was gonna happen if I couldn't find something new in time and all this stuff. And it all just kind of worked out like really smoothly. But the thing is that if you guys have watched my first house buying story, you guys would know that there was a little bit of drama during the purchasing process because they found a lien on the property like 2 weeks before closing. And it was kind of a stressful nightmare. And I'm like, we found out about that at about this point in the process. And so I'm just like, I'm to the point where I really don't have to do much of anything else. And I'm just sitting here like waiting for shit to hit the fan. I'm like, this is the part where the shit happens. When is it gonna happen? I'm on alert. It's gonna happen. Something is gonna happen. Something is gonna happen. Although, you know what happened instead is that my computer exploded. So, that was another thing that happened. That's why I didn't stream it all last week. It's because my computer exploded. My beautiful computer wife. She exploded. And I lost like a week of work. But that had nothing to do with, okay, I guess it had something to do with the house because it was caused by a house inspector who came to look at this house, and a clumsy house inspector tripped a breaker, shut off all the power to my house, and fried my computer's hard drive. So that was the thing that happened. Lesson learned, get a UPS backup battery for your computer. I have one now. For the record, my computer is fine now. It just, whatever happened with that fuse box, it placed I swear to God, it placed a dark curse on my computer, like on my hard drive specifically, because I have one hard drive that's like my main hard drive. It's like where all my program files are kept, and my program files and like the operating system and stuff like that are on one hard drive, and then I have a second hard drive where I keep all my files. And the one where I keep all my files is the one that got corrupted. And apparently, according to the squadron of geeks at the bestest of buys, the fine wizards that I did take my computer to get it fixed, they said that one of two things happened anytime they tried to get files off of that hard drive. So, you know, like they took the hard drive out of my computer and they put it in one of those little thingies that like lets you connect it to other computers. One of two things would happen. Either one, the computer would not recognize the drive at all. Like it just pretended that there was no drive there. Or two, it would recognize the drive and immediately crash whatever device I plugged it into. It was just, it's the external hard drive computer killer. It's just, it's an evil beast now. A dark curse has been placed on my hard drive. It's like I have to laugh because I lost like a whole week of work. I had to completely redo the Mail Club illustration for this month. But that's kind of funny. The Great Wizards of Best Buy. Yeah, no, I was making jokes with my friends in my group chat and being like, I'm just gonna go up to the Best Buy with my little computer tower and my sadness wagon and being like, please, doctor, I require an audience with your squadron's finest geeks. My computer wife, she's very sick. She forgets herself. She has amnesia. She won't turn on. She won't start up properly. She got zapped by electricity and now she doesn't work right. Sadness wagon. No, yeah, that's what I called it. I was just like, you know, walking into Best Buy with my computer. It's a literal wagon. I got it for Christmas from my mom. It's just like this little collapsible, like little fabric and metal wagon. She bought it for me to use it for conventions. But I used it to take my computer to Best Buy because my computer was super duper heavy. And I didn't want to risk dropping it in the parking lot because, you know, I've been thinking about it because, you know, you got to think about these things when you're trying to get homeowners insurance and shit. My computer is pretty easily the most expensive thing I own. It was several $1,000s when I first made it, and I've upgraded it a couple times since then. Several $1,000 computer, and I just had this nightmare that I was, you know, walking from my car across the parking lot into the Lord's Best Buy, and I just dropped my computer and it shattered everywhere. So I put it in a wagon. I put it in a wagon. A sadness wagon. And then proceeded to immediately also have a heart attack on the way to the Best Buy. Because, you know, I figured that my computer was low enough to the ground. It had a low enough center of gravity that it wouldn't fall over in my car on the way there. It did fall over in my car like 10 minutes after leaving my house. And I just heard a very loud clunk, and I was like, oh, Jesus Christ! Nothing broke, but apparently the capture, or not the capture card, the graphics card wiggled loose a little bit, and so they had to reseat it, and I was just like, why do they have the fucking graphics card? Why do they just float in the middle? Why is the most expensive piece of my PC just floating freely? Because that shit is terrifying. It was fine. I was worried that the glass was gonna break because it fell on the glass side, but it didn't. It was fine, but I'm just like, okay, lesson learned. Lay the computer down when you put it in the car. Lay the computer down on its side so it doesn't fall over when you're driving. But yeah, so, you know, the process of diagnosing what exactly the problem was with the computer and then getting it fixed and all that took several days. And as much as I hate to say it, it was kind of a blessing in disguise. Because I kind of just got to chill last week. I didn't have any okay, I did have a super pressing deadline because I had my, you know, my Pokemon video had to go up because that video had a sponsor, but Ohu is very chill. And so I was like, hey, I know you guys said that you wanted the video by this date, but my computer exploded. So it might be a couple days late, and they were like, oh yeah, it's fine, don't worry about it. And I'm like, okay. I did end up, you know, getting it done before the day they requested. But it was a little touch and go there. It was a little touch and go there. But aside from that, you know, I had to like redo a bunch of work, and that was a bummer. That was fucking annoying. I still have to finish redoing the comic pages that I lost the files for. I had to redo the Mail Club illustration, which was a pain in the ass, but I was able to just trace the finished JPEG of it. And so that only took me like an evening. And the comics, you know, I'm working on them. I've got them like inked and flatted, and the rendering shouldn't take too terribly long. But I mean, it's like, you know, I could do some work like on my iPad last week, but for the most part, I'm just like kind of sitting on my hands and waiting for my computer wife to return from her stay at sea, as my friends and I jokingly called it. And, you know, I just read a lot. I read, and I got several hundred more pages into Way of Kings. I just kind of chilled, and honestly, it was kind of nice. It was quite literally like the only way to get Star to take a vacation and for her to actually commit to it is to explode her computer and make it literally impossible for her to work for a while. But yeah, so like I finally took that vacation that I was, you know, supposed to take for the month of January and kind of didn't, depending on who you're asking. And I read some books and I just chilled. Pollen, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Thank you. It is your season. It's Pollen season. The Stormlight Archive, an infinite well of sad boys. I only know of the one sad boy right now, but he is very sad. Bad stuff keeps happening. Poor baby boy Kaladin. I'm waiting for him to go apeshit. I'm waiting for him to just like, aren't you tired of this? Aren't you ready to go apeshit? I mean, I guess he kind of, he's on his way, I feel. He's on his way. Moral of the story, take a break before the computer breaks you, yeah. Yeah. He'll be fine, I'm sure. He'll be fine. But yeah, I'm roughly 350-ish pages into that book. It is a chunky book. I'm gonna be reading that shit for months. I am plugging my way through it. However, right now, at this exact current moment, I am distracted because the new patch, the new update for Fields of Mystery had just came out yesterday, and I did work through the weekend so that I could take Monday and Tuesday mostly off, and enjoy the new update. And then this morning, I'm laying in bed, I'm playing my little video game, and I'm just like, I feel like I should be working. I feel like I should be working. I feel like I should not be playing this video game that I specifically made time in my schedule to play. So if you ever want a glimpse into what living in my brain is like, there's a good example for you. I was like, I had to like mentally hold myself down, and I'm just like, just play your stupid video game that you like literally worked through the weekend. You're not supposed to be working on the weekends. Even your family has started giving you shit about how you work through the weekends and you don't actually ever take weekends, but you told yourself at the start of the year that you wanted to have better work-life balance and that you weren't going to work on the weekends anymore, and you specifically broke that rule to work on the weekend so you could take those 2 days of your weekend and transfer it instead into Monday and Tuesday. Take Monday and Tuesday as your weekend so then you can spend Monday and Tuesday enjoying this new video game. And then, you know, Monday happens and I still do a little bit of work on Monday because I had to be out of my house for a section of the day for unrelated reasons anyway. And I figured it's like, okay, well, I don't know exactly when this appointment is going to be happening, but there's going to be like another house inspector coming to look at my house. And I assumed he was going to come in the morning and then he didn't. And so I'm just like sitting on my hands for most of the day. And I'm like, well, I might as well do something because the update doesn't happen until noon. And so I spent, you know, most of my morning plugging away at comic pages and just waiting for a home inspector to show up. He didn't show up until 2, and then when he showed up, I had to leave the house for a couple hours, and then I came back and I played a little bit of the game when I got back home, but I still, you know, I took most of Monday and worked, despite the fact that, you know, Monday was supposed to be one of the days of my delayed weekend. But I'm like, you know, okay, I'll just spend Tuesday, and I'll spend Tuesday working on stuff, or playing my video game and taking time off. And, you know, this morning, I wake up, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm playing Fields of Mystery, and I'm enjoying myself, and I'm just, like, laying there and thinking, it's a weekday. I should be working right now. Such is the life. Such is the brain. Overworked, workaholic artist does not know how to slow down. So I made a joke on Blue Sky that just like, I need someone to come over to my house and whack me with a rolled up newspaper. Because like the thing is, I did actually do some work today, but it was mostly just like, okay, I need to order stickers, I need to call the insurance company, I need to do like these little bitty things. I need to like schedule some promo posts and stuff like that. But you know, most of today I spent playing my silly little farming game, which was good for me. I have enjoyed it. But I am still racked with a corporeal sense of guilt that hangs over me. Dropped my tablet pen. So yeah, if you ever wanted to know what it's like in my brain, it's like that. It's like that. It's all fun shit over here. But yeah, I guess that's your recap. I guess that's the recap of what the last couple of weeks of Star Life has been like. It's been 50 minutes. So yeah, the Star Life has been busy, but we are closing in on the point where I will be less busy, and once the move is over, then I'm gonna have to worry about C2E2. But after C2E2, I'm gonna have so much time on my hands. Because C2E2, we're moving in like early March, early April, like the first week of April, we're gonna be furiously painting the entire new house and then moving all my stuff in, and then the moving process is gonna take time. It's gonna take a few days for me to like settle everything. And then by the time I'm settled in the new place, then I'm gonna have to start prepping for C2E2, and that's gonna take a while. That's gonna be a lot of work and time. But then after C2E2, which is like, once I get back from C2E2, we'll be like halfway through March, April, god damn it. And then I will have more time to do things. A yippee. But yeah, so this is a print that I wanted to get done for C2E2 because I realized it's like, you know, I've got all these big 11 by 17 prints, but I don't have any for Castoff. And the 11x17 prints that I had for Castoff were like some really old art, and they were just vector, and I sold out of those at Rose City Comic Con a while back. And so I wanted to do a new piece. And so that's what we're doing. We're doing a new piece with new art and the whole main cast. Yippee-ki-yay. Yippee-ki-yay! What's the theme for this club, this mail club? No specific theme other than like 10th anniversary, kind of. The mail clubs don't always have themes. Sometimes the theme is Star does what she wants. And this is kind of one of those months. So yeah, I'm just doing a new piece like this, new promo piece that's gonna double as a print. And then I've got the stickers that I already showed. Sometimes the theme is fuck it, we ball, you know? I heard you found a house closer to Austin. Congrats. Yeah, I'm excited about it. I did just spend most of the stream so far recapping that whole process. But TLDR, yes. Pollen, thank you for the super chat. Another one. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. After the computer, when Kablooey Star draws what she wants. Yeah. But also, it's my comic's birthday. And my comic is allowed to have a special little treat for that. A special little treat for a special little comic. Yippee. Yeah, I'm excited for C2E2 though. That's gonna be the first con that I am actually going to have my Castoff Volume 1 books for. Because I have those now. And oh, that feels like a good segue that if you guys have not seen it yet, pinned comment at the top of chat and also the first line of the video description, the physical books have been added to my shop now. Yippee! The physical books are finally up. I said a while back, but I was delaying putting the books on my store until after the Makeshift plushie campaign ended because I didn't want them to compete with each other. But the Makeshift campaign ended on Sunday evening, and so the physical books are now available. Pew, 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 pew. Pew, pew, pew. Pew. So yeah, and then I've been telling people this over and over again. The books are not gonna run out anytime soon. I've got like several hundred books left. They're not, it's, you know, I'm gonna run out at some point, but I'm not in any danger of running out anytime soon. So like, there's no rush. It's gonna be like the How to Webcomic books, you know? Is like, when they sell out, I'm planning on buying more. So, but hopefully I won't sell out until closer to the time when Volume 2 is gonna be happening. So, which is not gonna be this year, by the way. I'm taking the year off from Kickstarters because my everything hurts. Kickstarters. Good for your wallet, scary for your brain. Blech. I think I'm gonna be using a fulfillment service for Kickstarters from now on just because I don't know if I can do that a third time. I don't know if I could do that a third time. Just the process of like packing and shipping that many books is just such a nightmare. And I've done it myself for the last 2 years because I figured, oh yeah, you know, I'll save some money. Yeah, sure, you save money, but the damage to your mental health though. It takes weeks to recover. That Kickstarter is one of the main reasons why I took most of January off. It's so draining in a way that you do not fathom until you've done it yourself. But yeah, so Volume 2 probably happening in 2026. I need time to prepare that. And I think that if I tried to do another Kickstarter so soon, My brain would simply explode. So we're aiming for 2026. Thankfully, the revisions for Volume 2 I don't think should take as long as Volume 1, because I shouldn't have to redraw quite so much. I should not have to edit the pages quite so much for Volume 2, so it shouldn't take me as long. Here's hoping, though, right? Supernova Blade, thank you for the super chat. Speaking of birthdays, mine's on Thursday. Hey, happy Hurley birthday. Hurley? Happy Hurley birthday. Happy early birthday. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. But yeah, for right now, I'm just focusing on some other stuff. And just kind of taking it easy. We're taking it easy, 2025. Voice is giving out already. I'm so out of practice. It's been so long since I've streamed, my voice has forgotten how to do things. Let's see, what else is there? What else? Oh, new video's up. I got my silly little Pokemon video up. I don't know if you guys have all seen that. That went up on Friday. It's a little bit more like experimental. It's not the kind of stuff that I usually do. But it was a topic that I thought would be fun to talk about. And it was fun to talk about. It's not performing quite as well as I'd like, just I think because, you know, it's a new thing for the channel. It's not, like, specifically art related. It's just me kind of yapping about video games. So I didn't think it was gonna, like, you know, do gangbusters numbers. But I had fun making it, and that's what counts, you know? I had fun making it. I had fun drawing some little guys with some little markers. I enjoyed myself. And isn't that the most important thing? Smiles at the camera. Don't you draw during the video? I do, but the video was not about art, which is the thing. Because this is like a thought that I've been having for a couple of days. Is it like calling it a crisis is too dramatic? But I think my channel is undergoing a little bit of an identity crisis right now. Again, crisis is too dramatic. It's more like an identity, huh? Because you stop and you think about it, and I've been, you know, kind of retrospective about this for a couple of days now. I started this channel with the intent of it being more of a storytime channel. Like, you know, because I had a lot of stories that I wanted to tell and, like, archive somewhere, so I didn't have to keep retelling the same stories every time I did a live stream. And, you know, I did really well for myself. Like, this channel kind of came into being. My first video that went viral was a storytime channel. Or was a storytime video, you know? And, like, a lot of my storytime videos have performed really well. But it seems like the more the time goes, it's like, you know, I do art and storytime videos. I tell a story and you watch the art in the background. Which, you know, I enjoy making those videos. I still do. The issue that I'm having now is that I'm running out of stories. And also, I feel like my just, like, plain storytime videos don't do as well as my, like, more art-focused videos. Because, you know, I've also done, like, tutorials. I've done stuff talking about the process of making webcomics. I've done my, like, character creation videos. I've done a bunch of different stuff that are more, like, art-focused. And I have my storytime videos that are more storytime-focused. And I'm just like, okay, but what am I now? What does that make me? You know? And so it's like, I finished my Pokemon video, which, you know, was just kind of like an experiment. I just had a topic that I wanted to talk about, and I'm in the fortunate position. I've got a couple friends who, like, YouTube is their main thing. It's like their only source of income, and so they can't experiment very much, because it's like, if I do something that's too off the beaten path for my channel, it'll fuck me over in the algorithm, and it's just like, I'll lose subscribers and all this stuff. That's stuff they have to worry about. YouTube is like, you know, a source of income for me, but my joke about having, you know, 4 jobs in a trench coat is not a joke. I do have like 4 main pillars of income, and so, you know, I can fuck around a little bit. I am a little bit more, like, I have a little bit more leeway and freedom with the type of content that I make, because I'm not 100% reliant on this channel for my income. And so I can just get a little quirky with it. And so, you know, I kind of wanted to experiment. I wanted to play around, but I'm just like, I'm looking at the numbers from the experimental Pokemon video. I'm looking at the numbers for like my art videos, and I'm looking at the list of videos that I kind of want to make, and nothing's really jumping out at me. And I'm just sitting here thinking like, what am I? What am I? I don't know what kind of channel I am anymore. I guess you know, you bundle it all under an art channel, and I guess I'm that. But like, I saw, you know, I'm guilty. I do some ego searching. I do some ego searching from time to time. And I found like a forum where where people were like talking about, you know, me and my videos, and they called me an art commentary channel. I'm like, now I don't think that's true. I don't think that is true at all. I talk about shit, but I don't know if I would call myself a commentary channel. But at the same time, my Narrative Academy, like, my Has Been Hotel video is the only one I've done so far, but I would like to do more, like media critique type videos in the future, but I don't want that to be my main thing. But like, that Has Been Hotel video for a long time, it was like one of the best performing videos on my channel. And I'm just like, okay, I did that one, but I don't want to niche myself down into being like a critique channel only. Is like, I do enjoy doing that, but I don't want that to be the only thing I do. And I do have a feeling that the main reason that video performed so well is because Has Been Hotel is very popular. And it's also very popular to dunk on. And so people are going to like the show if they watch it, and they're also going to watch the video if they hate it, you know? So it's like, I would like to do more of those, but those are more work intensive, because I actually have to, you know, like, watch a piece of media and take notes and like write down all my stuff, and I have to get footage for it. So, you know, those take a lot more time. But people really like them. And it's just like, again, it's like an identity crisis. An identity, huh? I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I'm just kind of, I make it a video, I guess. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Read my webcomic. That one I know I'm doing. Oh, man. I do very much appreciate the Narrative Academy videos. They've been so good for getting things down on paper. I do appreciate that. I hope that those are helpful, because, like, you know, part of those videos is that they're fun for me. The Narrative Academy video includes, you know, the critique videos like Has Been Hotel, but I've also kind of branched it out for Narrative Academy also includes my character creation videos, like the randomized D&D character videos where I talked about, like, character writing and story setup and stuff like that. I love those videos. I'd love to do more of those. But it's not something in the super near future, just because, again, those are more complicated to put together. But yeah, what started this in my brain, and the point that I'm finally getting back to, is, you know, I finished my Pokemon video and I sat down, I like leaned back and I was like looking at my calendar thinking, okay, that's my next video down. We're all ready to start the next one. What the fuck do I make a video about now? I was genuinely sitting here like, I don't know what kind of video to make. I have no idea. And I'm like, I have a couple of ideas that I've just been, you know, sitting on for a while. And I can cross a couple of ideas off the list just because I need something a little bit more low tech for April because I don't have a lot of time this month. I'm staring down a very busy rest of March and April. So I need something that's going to be like, you know, a little bit easier. But then what do I do? What do I do? Because there's like, I'm an art channel now, but what does that like mean? I've worked myself into a niche, but the niche is very broad and I don't really know what defines the niche. Because like, I'm in a Discord server now. I got invited to a Discord that's like all art YouTubers. And like everybody's stuff is like so varied. And you know, like people do like art challenges and there's channels where like people will do videos on like character design and stuff. But I don't think that my character design is like the strongest. And then, you know, I feel like my writing skills are stronger, but that's kind of boring to make a video about. And so I'm like, and also another sort of like identity, not crisis, but identity, that I've kind of been struggling with recently is, you know, my thing is, I feel like I talk a big game. I feel like I technically know a lot about putting a story together, but I look at a lot of my peers who, this happens more often with folks who are like in more published arenas, where it's like, yeah, I made this comic, and I made this comic, and I made this comic, and I wrote this book. And I'm like, I've been making the same comic for like 10 years. And that's what I know how to write. And I'm just, I almost don't think it's imposter syndrome. It's just like, I feel... Nah, you know what? I guess it is imposter syndrome. It's like, I feel more like a novice because I got really good at writing one story. But then I'm like, I know how to write this story. I know how to write Castoff because I've been working on it for so long. But I really haven't written much of anything else in the last like 10 years. And yet I'm trying to sit here and teach other people how to write. And so I'm like, I guess, yeah, that is like the definition of imposter syndrome, isn't it? But it's just, it made me feel, it was very humbling, I guess you could say. You know, I've been sitting here like, you know, touting is like, yeah, you know, I know a lot about storytelling. It's a medium that I'm very passionate about. And then you look at it and it's just like, it makes you feel like such a novice. It's like, you think you know how to do this thing, but then you really step back and you think about it and you're like, oh, I'm just really good at doing this one thing in particular. Ah, shit. I've been enjoying your prose writing that you've been putting on Unveil. I don't think you're a bad writer, but I think practicing with other things will help keep you sharp. Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of the thing. That is like the segue that I wanted to take, is that one of the reasons I've gotten so attached to my D&D characters recently is because, like, before I started playing D&D, I was kind of suffering from like a dearth of story ideas. I loved Castoff, but I didn't really have any other ideas for like stuff I really actively wanted to work on. And now, like with my D&D campaigns and like with these characters, I've been able to do some like collaborative storytelling, and it's really gotten the brain juice pumping more so than it had been for a while. It's like the rusted gears finally started turning again. And it's made me, you know, like want to explore more storytelling avenues and actually like have stories that I'm passionate about telling that I can use in those mediums. And so, yeah, the point is, I've been farting around with prose. I talked about this on my recent stream, but in the time since my last stream, I've actually written like a full short story. It's like 6,000 plus words. And it's about Larry, or Laz as their actual name is. But that's on my Unveil now. I'll talk about that more in a second. Medmath, thank you for the super chat. I just want to say that I've been enjoying my first D&D game since January. It's RP light, but I've still got pages of backstory written anyway. I wanted to know that this is your fault. Yippee! I'll take that. I will take that. I'm glad you're enjoying yourself, though. That's awesome. Have fun with your dungeons and or dragons. But yeah, so I've kind of just like, don't get too excited because this is not going to be a thing for a while, if ever. But I've been, you know, kind of poking and prodding and being like, what if I adapted the stories for some of my D&D characters into like a novel or like a series of novels or like a series of novellas or like an anthology series that all kind of takes place in the same universe. I've talked about this on streams before, but I've been, you know, poking at it more in the background, and it's been giving me more stuff to practice my prose on. And I still love comics. I'm not going to stop doing comics anytime soon. But the cool thing about prose is that you can just put words on paper and you don't have to draw all that. I can just write, hey, and then this thing happened, and I don't even have to spend a bajillion years drawing it after that. And it's awesome! Light novel format? I'm thinking possibly illustrated novels. So like maybe once a chapter I'll do like a little illustration to go along with it. But they'd probably be like pencil sketches, black and white, so the printing would be cheaper. I would love those. I love your D&D characters so much. Well, if you like my D&D characters, I've been trying to, you know, truth be told, you know, I hear like writers, my writer friends complain about this all the time, but yeah, it is like way harder to get people to read something than to just like enjoy art. But I have written a entire short story. It's not short, it's like 6,000 words. But I wrote a short story about Larry/Laz, and you can read it. And if you read it, you are legally obligated to tell me if you liked it. So you guys should go read that, and then you should tell me if you like it. But you know, also just like in general, looking for feedback, because I'm way less confident with my prose, just because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm kind of like, writing and drawing comics is like me getting behind the wheel of a car that I've been driving for 10 years. I'm like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. I got this. Me writing prose is like getting behind the wheel of a tractor, and I'm like, I know I can make this go. I know the levers do things. And I guess I'm just gonna keep doing the thing that makes it go and hope that it continues to go. I effing loved it. It was yippee, I must say. I thought it was really good. You have a nice way of writing internal monologue, and you can see how heavy Laz's past weighs on her in the story. Thank you! Yeah, the main thing I wanted to get across in that story, because the story is, okay, so the thing about the story is that there are spoilers for my Sunday D&D campaign in there. There's stuff that gets revealed in that story that have not been revealed yet to the other players at large, or to my own character, to Lapis, within the context of that story. And so I can't talk too much in detail, specifically, because my editor's probably gonna be watching this stream later, and I don't want to spoil them because we haven't been able to play that campaign in a while because things keep happening. We've had to cancel the last few sessions, unfortunately, but you know, such and such happens. But yeah, like the main thing that I wanted to get the point across, I suppose, in that story was like kind of Laz's frame of mind with how they decided to like, with kind of how their connection to Lapis was established, and like kind of what that means and how they came about it, and like where that kind of came from. And so that's kind of what I was having fun with. And so I'm glad that came across. But yeah. But yeah, I have gotten some nice comments on it already, and I'm very appreciative. But yeah, I do know that like parts of the story, like they are vague, but they're kind of vague by design. Because I didn't want it to be like super duper exposition heavy. I just kind of wanted it to be like a glimpse into that world, you know? A glimpse into those characters without having to like have them exposit their entire like storyline to the audience directly. Mm-hmm. I really loved getting a peek into Laz's head, living for the extra Larry lore. Yeah! Larry lore! I'm glad that people like them as a character. They're very fun to write. Star loves writing assholes, but the thing is that Laz is like a particular subgenre of asshole that I've never really done before. Where it's like, a lot of Laz's personality just comes from like fear, I guess, because like they lived as like this, they're a former assassin that was like heavily like under mind control essentially for like their entire life, and they've lived for a while. I don't know the exact number of like years they've been alive because it's kind of complicated, but it's like they've lived a very long and shitty life, and it has a very negative effect on them, and just kind of like, you know, they want out from that life, but they are still terrified of the person that put them there. And it's just, it was very fun to explore, and I hope that I want to do some more stuff with them in the future. I mean, writing a short story in an established universe means you don't have to explain everything. Yeah, we're going to be out of the loop for some things, but it's still understandable. Okay, yeah, because like, I also, you know, I'm set at, that short story in particular was still firmly within like the canon D&D lore. But if I take these characters and make them into something more like novel adjacent, like for the practice shorts, I'm okay with just, you know, sticking with D&D terminology and the D&D setting. But I'm working on, you know, developing my own setting that all of these stories can take place in, and so I want to change some stuff. Would you ever do a Castoff themed D&D campaign with its world building? I mean, maybe. I don't know. The thing is that, like, you know, Castoff wasn't really designed with gameplay in mind. I feel like if it was, I could have gone harder with it, but like Castoff is a fairly light on fantasy elements. Like there's magic, but I mean, I feel like you could play a decent game with just like, you know, just adapting some of the D&D stuff and just like taking a bunch of stuff out of it. Also, I don't know anything about writing like game systems, so don't put me in charge of that. And that's one of those things where it's like, I don't know anything about game design, and that is one of those things that I'm just have no interest in learning. So also radioactive elves. Yeah, that's like my one thing that I like is like, you know, there's quote elves, but they are not like your Tolkien, like your standard fantasy elves. They have their own kind of unique lore and stuff behind them. They're radioactive. Like that Imagine Dragon song. Okay, but real talk, do you know how hard it is to like kind of get the point across that that magic basically works like radiation in this universe without actually using the word radioactive? Because that is not a word that would exist in this fantasy setting. Do you know how hard that is to get across? It was such a pain in my ass. I'm like, God, fucking, don't write fantasy, because you'll have to come up with weird, you can't use some words because it doesn't make sense. It's like, okay, yeah, I could, you know, just describe my elves as radioactive, but radioactivity does not exist in this universe, so I can't just use that to explain it. God damn it. You could also go the route of sprinkling in lore when needed throughout the story. I've seen podcasts do that where they talk about lore like you're supposed to know but explain it later. And I mean, that is kind of what I've been doing with Castoff. They call that like organic storytelling. And that is something that I try to do. It's very difficult. Because, you know, doing a bad job, it's just getting that information across is, I've started calling it, I've heard it called, and it makes sense because this is something that I see. You can recognize an artist, a writer who is struggling when you have characters who already know all of the information that they're about to say something like, well, as you know, the world actually works like this. Anytime a character in a piece of media says, as you know, I'm like, okay, they know it. So why are you explaining it? The answer is they're explaining it for the audience. Because the audience doesn't know what's going on. But it just, once you stop and think about it, it's like, this character has no reason to be going off on this tangent. It's like, as you know, this thing is a thing that happens. Yeah, they do know it. So why are you saying it? Once you start noticing that, it will drive you crazy. It will drive you crazy. Being like, oh, well, they're literally just expositing this for the audience, and it drives me up a wall. But it's so hard not to do, because that's just like an easy way to, you know, get the point across to your audience. But I have like avoided it like the plague. Especially in Castoff too, because, you know, Castoff has like fantasy elements and fantasy world building, but I have gone out of my way very much to be like, these characters were basically just like, the story is seen, we are getting a slice of this universe through the eyes of these characters. So if this is not something that these characters would organically say in this moment, they're not going to say it. The characters are not going to drop everything to exposit a little bit to the audience. Basically, you pick up on the hints I'm putting out, or you get left in the dust. Fantasy is so hard. So many words are Christian, and how did Christianity get here if it doesn't exist? Yeah, that's like another thing. It's like, the Jesus Christ as a swear has just like such a good mouthfeel. And it's just like, nothing else hits as hard. But if you're in a universe that doesn't have Christianity, it makes no sense to use that as a swear. Damn it! And so actually a fun thing, a little tidbit, a little crunchy tidbit of lore that I put in Castoff, and that no one seems to have commented on, which is fine because it's very subtle. But you know, I put this in here for me, and a few people I think have commented on some adjacent stuff. But of all of the characters have like, all of the characters save for one are from a culture with a monotheistic like religion. So the main religion practiced in the main country that Castoff takes place in is like, it's a monotheistic, they have one god, but she's goddess. And so a lot of characters like will say like, goddess, are you okay? Like kind of how you would say God in like our thing. It's just like, oh my God, are you okay? But instead all the characters will say, oh my goddess, are you okay? With one exception. Frankie doesn't say that. Frankie does say stuff like, oh my God. I think he has said it a couple times in the comic because he is from a different country that does not have the same religion. And so, like, Frankie actually has said that a couple times. He said, like, oh God, or something like that, just because he picked that up from his own language. So, you know, go back and reread chapter 5 and you'll catch some of that little nonsense, little tidbits, little bits, some itty-bitty little bits that I threw in there that no one's ever noticed or commented on, but, you know, I thought, just a little detail. Yippee. That's such a funny little lore. Yeah, I sneak in little tidbits like that occasionally. Like, what I've been struggling with trying to, you know, come up with this setting and like the lore and stuff for this, the series that I'm kind of working on. We'll call it a series, 'cause that's probably what it's going to end up being. I've been having a hard time just because, like, I don't feel like I'm good at coming up with original stuff for world building. And so I've been, you know, struggling a little bit with that. But I love to throw in a tidbit. I love to throw in like a little something something. Just a little bits, little tiny bits. I love a little detail, a fun little detail that's just not really ever commented on, but it's just, you know, just a little something something. Something something toilets in Castoff. We don't have to talk about the toilets in Castoff, okay? This is like the exact opposite of what I just talked about. You know, I love to do a little tidbit when it's relevant to the story, and this is somewhat relevant to the story because it changes how the characters speak. But none of the characters in Castoff are ever gonna go to the bathroom, so I don't have to figure out how the internal plumbing works. I don't have to think about it, so we don't have to worry about how the people in Castoff poop. There's just hypothetical toilets, but I don't know what they look like because I'm never gonna show them in the comic. So I don't have to think about it. I am a very economic world builder. I'm like, listen, if it's never gonna come up in the comic, I'm not gonna spend time on it. I'm not gonna spend time on it because we don't have to worry about it. It's like, don't look over there. Look at me. Look at the important stuff that I actually developed and not how the internal plumbing works. I don't care about that. I care about the silly little linguistics thing. Look at my silly little linguistics things. Don't look at the toilets that I didn't bother to actually invent. I'm not interested in the plumbing of my fantasy universe. I've read like several fantasy novels over the past couple of months. You know how many of them talk about how the fantasy characters use the toilet? Like none of them, because it doesn't matter. I mean, it's not necessary, but it is cute to analyze the further details. See, I analyze further details when it matters to the narrative, but aside from that, I don't give a shit. I don't need to figure out how plumbing works in my fantasy universe. I can let some nerd figure that out for me. I can let people have their headcanons. I'm not gonna bother with that shit, though. Literally. I consider myself like a relatively world-building light type of writer. I don't like to place a lot of focus on the world building because I love my characters so much more. I like a story that takes place in an interesting world, but the world matters less to me than like the characters and the plot, you know? And so it's like, I admire writers who are really good at world building, but I don't ever think that's gonna be my thing. Despite the fact, you know, sometimes I wish it was. Sometimes I wish that I could write, you know, like more unique and interesting fantasy worlds. But at the same time, it's like, you know, I try to sit down and come up with that stuff, and my brain says, no, I want to come up with a new Blorbo instead. And then I have Lorbus McGee just on my desk by 8 a.m., and I'm like, okay, cool, well, we didn't think anything about the world that I was supposed to be coming up with. And so that's the thing. World building can become procrastination if you're not careful, unless you're going for a Warhammer 40k or Silent Hill where the setting is the character. Yeah. And it's like kind of like I said, I can enjoy a story written like that, but I don't think it's the type of stuff that I would ever write. Like, I love horror as a genre. I enjoy like a good psychological horror. I really liked Silent Hill. I had fun with that. I like the Magnus Archives. I like all this other stuff. But I don't think it's a genre I would ever write. You know, there's certain genres, there's certain types of media where it's like, I enjoy consuming this, but it's not something that I think I would enjoy making. And I've just kind of had to come to terms with that about myself, is like, yeah, I enjoy like a really creative and interesting fantasy world, but that's just not what my brain wants to make. You know? You know? Doesn't Shizuoka mean Silent Hill in Japanese? Yes, it does. I think technically it means Quiet Hill, but it's Silent Hill. I lived in Silent Hill for 2 years. I did definitely make many jokes about that when I lived there. You go on my old personal Instagram account and you can see, like, anytime it was foggy and I was walking to school in the morning, I'm like, oh, Silent Hill time. Let's go. I've got like some very aesthetic photos on that Instagram account. Don't go looking for that Instagram account, by the way. It's privated because I only want like, that one's for IRL buds only. So. What made you decide to make world building interludes, and why are they only showing up now after chapter 12? Because those were in the back of volume 1 as a Kickstarter reward, as like a milestone. And I needed something to keep people coming back to the website during the hiatus, so I just made them bonus content. That's literally the reason. If those hadn't been in the back of volume 1, I probably never would have made them. But there you go. That's literally the reason. I'm not usually a fan of like just, you know, lore dumps like that, but the people were interested and I made it like a donation, or not a donation, but a stretch goal for the Kickstarter. And so I made them for that, and I'm like, well, I have these and I want to take some time off the comic, but I need people to keep coming back to the website so that I can advertise Vector's plushie. Hey guys, who wants to see some world building? That's literally what happened. So, because those were intended for the back of volume 1 as bonus content, you will notice that I only went into stuff that mattered for volume 1, which is chapters 1 through 4. So, when volume 2 runs around, if I have enough, like, spare room in the back, I want to do stuff that's talking about stuff that becomes relevant in volume 2. So, you know, there'll probably be a little bit more world building stuff about, like, oh god, my AC just clicked on it. I thought it was a loud car. That completely threw off my train of thought. God, would you just stay put? I swear to God, like the little mat on the bottom of my my tablet fell off, and I tried to put a new one on and it keeps sliding around. Pain in my ass. Would you just stick to the bottom of my tablet like you're supposed to? Please and thank you. Be a good little nubbin and stay where I stick you. Ah, okay. What was I talking about? I don't remember. But yeah, TLDR, comics are fun. Writing them is hard, but I like it. So it's okay to info dump between chapters? Okay. People keep asking me if it's okay to do things in their story. Guys, I love y'all, but I'm not the arbiter of what you can and cannot do in your story. If you want to do something, just do it. You don't have to ask permission. You know? Like, just do it. If you want to do something, then just do it. You don't have to ask me. I don't mean to, like, take this out on you specifically, Cutesy Kitsune. I'm just, like, I get questions like this where it's just like, is it okay to do this in a story? Is it okay to do this? Is it okay to do this thing? I'm like, just do it. Just do the thing. You know? It's like, I'm not your boss. Just do the thing. You know? I don't generally lore dump between chapters because I don't like reading them, and I want that information to come across within the actual story itself. But if you want to do that to get extra lore across in an easier way, you can do that. My Firefox is crashing or something is happening, and it's not letting me see chat anymore, so that's cool. Love that for me. Something has gone wrong with my internet. One second. Are we live? Am I good? Hello? Okay, it's loading now. I can see my chat again. Sorry, I think my internet must have done like a little blip. Okay, we back now. Cool. Cool. The stream strangely was fine. Yeah, it's just like my street or my live chat stopped updating. Like I could still see it updating in OBS, but it wasn't updating like in my little YouTube viewer where I can actually read chat because it's bigger. But just like stopped updating. But that was weird. But yeah, writing is tricky. Writing is hard. But you know, the more you get practice at it and you do better, you kind of figure out what works and what doesn't. But I mean, it's like you're constantly learning with everything that you make, right? Like, you know, I like to think that I have pretty decent storytelling abilities specifically. But, you know, like prose is now something that I'm experimenting with, and that's like an entirely different beast. Like, sure, my skills with forming a narrative still work the same, but I'm having to rely on words instead of pictures. And there's pros and cons to both of those. It's kind of interesting. Where it's like, it's easier to do exposition in prose, I would argue. And I discovered this while I was doing that last short story, where it's like, I can just, you know, add a little tidbit about this character as just like something they're thinking about. Just kind of, it's just something they're thinking about in the back of their head. And you can just say, this is what they were thinking about because this is how it affects them. And that's a lot harder to get across in a visual narrative. Because like with Castoff specifically too, I steer actively away from using thought bubbles. I know a lot of comics do thought bubbles, but I very specifically do not use thought bubbles in my comics because it feels kind of like cheating. And I mean, I guess it's like, it's fine. You can do that if you want, but like for me, it just always felt like a crutch. It's like, I have access to this visual medium. I want to use it to its fullest ability. And I feel like it's kind of, I see a lot of manga where they rely on the thought bubbles so extensively. It feels like characters think more than they talk. And I don't find that to be especially enjoyable. But that's just my thing. Again, that's what I like to do, but you guys don't have to have the same opinion. Like, if you guys want to use thought bubbles in your comics, you can do that. It's a personal hang-up of mine, is that I don't like them and I don't like using them. But it's a perfectly valid, like, device for storytelling, so use it if you want to use it. I feel like having thought bubbles depends on how much you focus on a specific character's perspective. Yeah, and that is true. I mean, I would argue that, like, you know, we switch perspectives in Castoff occasionally, but I still prefer to never use thought bubbles. I guess I think having no thought bubbles makes it more cinematic, because it makes it feel more like a movie. Because, you know, like, how often in a movie do you hear a character's thoughts? Not terribly often, right? And you know, in a prose novel, you can hear the character's thoughts as much as you want, because if you're writing it from like a first person perspective, or even like kind of a third person perspective, you can still kind of get like their thought processes. You can wriggle those in there. And comics feel like kind of a happy medium where you can kind of like lean in one direction or another depending on how much you use thought bubbles. And I prefer a more cinematic approach to writing and drawing comics. So why use the thought bubbles when you can draw it? Basically, yeah. I don't really like to use narration either. The few times I've used narration in Castoff is specifically when a character is telling a story. So like I did it in chapter 12. Like I had the little square balloons where it's just like, it's Sage. It's kind of like we're taking a step back and like, okay, and this is Sage telling the story. Even though most of the story is like told through flashback and you don't really get a lot of narration, there's still like a smidgen of it. We're going to be getting more of that in future chapters. But yeah. Now I gotta ask, how do you feel about the recent-ish trend in titles in manga and anime where it's more of a statement of the plot than a catchy, concise title? It's less about what I think about it, but there is a very specific reason why that happened and why that has gotten popular. It's because a lot of those stories are based off of light novels, and when you're posting, from what I understand, I might get a few bits of this wrong, but from what I understand, in Japan, you can post light novels online, like kind of as a version of a webcomic. It's like a webcomic, but they're written, you know, light novels. But you, like, if you're looking at like the listing page, like a list of like all the light novels you can read on that website, they don't give you a synopsis up front. And so people started trying to get the plot of their stories across by making them the title, instead of praying that people would click on it just to see what the story is about and then maybe reading it. And so it's a trend, but it is a trend that came very specifically from this part in the light novel culture, and like there is a very specific reason why it is like that. Am I a fan? No. Do I understand why they did it? Yes. So like I'm not gonna judge, but like there is a reason why it is like that, you know? You just, whenever you're thinking about stuff like that, you gotta think there's a reason why it's like this, you know? If you ever see something weird, you gotta look a little deeper and you gotta think there's probably a reason why it is like that. It's like those things where it's like every law has a story behind it. Every rule, every sign has a story behind it. You gotta think about the story behind it before you judge, you know? Want to say your tips on the medium kicked me to getting my project between 45 to 50 hour weeks. Tough to make time, but wanting to get it in pre-production, it's fulfilling to get it out of my system. Koros, thank you for this super chat, and that's awesome. I am so happy to help, and I wish you luck in your projects. It sounds fun, sounds cool. The joy of creating. You just gotta get out there and make art, you know? Yippee-ki-yay. Yippee-ki-yay. Castoff manga title. I got kidnapped and now I'm traveling with a mean girl and a robot. I mean, listen, you're not wrong, but like... it's too short. You gotta add more in there. You gotta make it like a whole run-on sentence. Where's my water? Dang, you know, I came into this stream thinking, yeah, we're probably not gonna get the inks done this stream because there's so much going on, but like we might get the inks done this stream. We might get this thing inked and flatted before the stream is over. That would be awesome. I got kidnapped and I'm on the run with a mean girl and a robot, and I just found out I'm the living equivalent of a science fair project. But that's spoilers, though. Oh my god, spoilers. Spoiler-ronies. Oh yeah, just because I haven't said it here yet, I did say it on the website, but I haven't said it on stream or anything. The comic is coming back soon. It is actually already back for patrons. Patrons have the first page of chapter 13 now. And normal website folks will be able to read. Those updates will start back up at the end of March. So there you go. I've had a lot of people being like, Star, when's the comic coming back? Star, when's the comic coming back? And I started getting those comments like in less than a week after the comic started its hiatus, and within a week I was already getting those comments, and I'm like, guys, I told you I'm going on I have to take a vacation or my brain is going to explode. You can wait a little bit. I will tell you when the comic is coming back when I know when the comic is coming back. But people were just like not reading the actual updates and just being like, okay, but when's it coming back though? Okay, but when's it coming back though? And I'm like, guys, patience, please. But yeah, so March 28th is when the comic will return. But if you're impatient and you have $5, you can read the updates as they're coming out on Patreon, because Patreon is consistently like a month ahead. So, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, etc. Just ignore them and enjoy your break. I mean, yeah, that's what I did, but it was just like, it was wild seeing it's like, okay, mod team, place your bets. How long is it gonna take before I get the first when's the comic coming back comment? And we all lost because it happened so quickly. I was a patron for a bit, but honestly, I wish there was a simple one-time donation button so I don't feel bad about unsubbing. Yeah, that's kind of what coffee was for a while, but then I only had like one person sub to the coffee, and I'm like, this is more work to maintain than it's worth. But yeah, I mean, just for the record, I've talked about this before, but just for the record, I will never begrudge people who like cancel their subs on Patreon. Like, I understand that not everyone's gonna have money in perpetuity. Like, I never judge for that kind of thing. So just like, don't, if you feel bad about having to drop a Patreon pledge, like, don't. I'm not gonna grief you about it, because I get it. I will never get mad at people for dropping a Patreon pledge unless they're like stinky in the exit survey or something. But aside from that, it's like, no, I get it. Like, if you only want to sub for the 1 month, it's totally fine. If you want to sub for longer, totally fine. Is there a way I can make one-time payments? I'm allergic to subs. I do have donations, like, on Ko-fi, like Ko-fi. There's a link in the description, but it doesn't really get you anything. It's just a donation. You can also super chat here, but Ko-fi's a little bit better because I actually get to keep all the money and YouTube doesn't take a cut. It's actually one of the reasons I stopped using Twitch, is because they take too high of a percentage. And honestly, as soon as I figure out how to if I can make Mail Club, like, just through my store, if I can set up, like, Shopify subscriptions, I might do that instead. Because Patreon also takes a pretty big percentage. I'd love to sub for more than occasionally, but I don't make the money that allows me to do that. No, I totally understand it. And, like, my view on it has always been, I appreciate any support that I get, even if it's not something you can do super consistently. The fact that you wanted to at all is worth a lot, and I do appreciate that. So, like, don't beat yourself up over it. Like, genuinely, I am just happy that, like, you know, folks are here and enjoying the stuff that I make. That kind of hurts. Blech. Cannot wait to finish stream and then go lay in bed and play more Fields of Mystery. That game has fully sucked me back in. I love a silly little farming sim, and Fields of Mystery itself is just, like, so fucking good. I love a silly little video game. All my friends are playing Monster Hunter right now, but I'm just like, I don't know. There's something about this new Monster Hunter that's just not grabbing me. I'm not sure if I'm falling off the series or what. But, like, I played the demo and I wasn't as into it as I hoped I was going to be, because, like, they took out the wire bug mechanics, and I loved those more than I realized, because once they took them out, I'm just like, I feel so much less mobile now, and I'm sad about it. Also, I've heard it has a lot of performance bugs. Which is kind of a bummer. Because, like, I'd be playing it. They say it's, like, on PC, there's, like, really bad performance bugs and, like, lag and stuff. And I'm like, well, I'd be playing it on PC, and I don't want to spend $70 fucking on a game that's gonna be laggy and, like, dropping frames all the time. Poorly optimized or whatever. Waiting for the inevitable expansion and the sale, get great value all at one time. Yeah, honestly, probably. I've actually never bought any of the DLC for Monster Hunter. Just because, like, I'm not a big DLC guy in general. I want to play a finished game. I never played any of, like, the Pokemon DLCs or anything either. I did... The one time I did buy DLC was, like, Fire Emblem Three Houses. I bought that DLC because I was weak, and some of the alternate outfits you got to me. I had a moment of weakness, and the school uniform outfit that you can get for your main character if you buy the DLC is so cute that I actually cosplayed it. I'm weak. But yeah, like, I like Monster Hunter. I'm just something about the new game just isn't doing it for me. And I have no idea what it is. I guess I'm just like, there's just something about it that's less hype for me right now. And I don't know what it is. But, you know, like, I see all my friends playing it, and I want to play it with them. But I'm worried that if I buy the game, the performance is going to be bad. And I'm not going to enjoy it as much. And, you know, $70 for that game. Whereas Fields of Mystery, it runs like a dream, and it's $15, and I've gotten, like, already over, close to 100 hours of gameplay out of that since I bought it. And I just unlocked the hot dragon boy in that game, and I wish his house was closer, is the only thing. But I like a he. He's pretty. He's pretty, chat. They've been hinting that the dragon was going to be a romanceable character, and he is, and he's pretty. And I like a him. No spoilers. I'm not gonna like post any pictures or something, but I am a sucker for a big scarf. And there's several characters in that game, depending on their seasonal outfits, that have big scarf. I like. Star-like. Hot Dragon Boy Where? Fields of Mystria! Farming game! They have been hinting since, like, day one that dragon was going to be a romanceable character, and that he was going to have a human version. It's been hinted, and finally, like, with this newest patch that just dropped, he actually finally, you get to a point in the plot where he actually shows up in the game. And I'm like, yay, 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 yay! Yippee-ki-yay! This stream got me to focus so well, I stayed an hour past my painting class ended and actually finished the paintings. Yay, get your art done. Get your art done. Let's go, let's go. Why must dragon boys be so attractive? I'm just a sucker for horns. Shocking no one, I know, because I like tieflings too. I don't know why. Horns are just a fun design element. I like a character with shape on their head. I think it's fun and cute. It's the same reason why I like cat girls. I like a character with a shape on their head from a purely visual standpoint. And horns are cool. You could do a lot with them. The Starlikes cat girls eventually evolved into Starlikes characters with horns for like the same general aesthetic design purposes. Shape on head, cute. Put character shape on head. Shape on head, good visual design, yes. Love shape on head. Love a subtle non-human thing on a character too. Horns with jewelry though, yes. Yes. How does this expand into things like headwear and ribbons? Well, see, I'm also a sucker for a character with a ponytail because nice shape on head. Nice shape on head. You put it to words, yeah. Shape on head, good character design. Horn on head, good character design. Cat ear on head, good character design. See, that's why I was never a fan. Okay, so when I made my pet peeves video and I talked about how, like, okay, if you're gonna make a cat girl or like some other kind of character with animal ears, you do not also need to give them human ears. Which is a trait that I will stand by. I will stand on my grave until I die and bury myself in it. But a lot of people had the comeback of, yeah, and why do people put cat ears on the top of their heads when it makes more sense to put it... Okay, I have to draw this. So people in my comments have been arguing that trying cat ear on top of head, bad. And cat ear, like, kind of coming out of the side of the head? Better, because this is where the human ear hole would be. I hate this. I do not like this. And that is just a matter of silhouette and vibes. Because maybe cat girls have their ear canals up here. We're already giving them different ears. We don't have to stick to human anatomy. They can have their ear canals up here. And it's fine. Like, I get where people are coming from with this, but I hate this and I don't like it. Put the cat ears on the top of the head where the cat ears should go. Because also, this is better shape. This is better shape than this. This is superior. This is superior. Just from pure shape aesthetic, this is the superior option. Is better shape. It looks nicer. Why is that better shape? Because I said so. I don't want to fight about this. You can disagree with me. I'm passionate about shape on top of head. Good. Shape on side of head for purely weak scientific semantics for a hypothetical creature anyway is boring. It's like, yeah, the cat girls do not need 2 sets of ears because beings in general do not need 2 sets of ears. But when you start getting into the semantics of the location of the ears for, quote, scientific reasons, that's dumb. Just give them the ears on top of the head, because that's what cat ears, that's where they go. It's fine. You're already fucking around with non-human anatomy. Just take it all the way and don't worry about justifying it. Just do it. Just do it. Oh, shit. That is my alarm to take my trash to the street. Ear canals can be anywhere on the head. Yeah, I'm already making a non-human fantasy character race. They're cat girls. I can put their ear canals wherever the fuck I say it is. That's like kind of another thing that I've been having fun, like, with this world I'm making. I'm like, I want to make it to a point where I can just have characters with any kind of like fantasy traits that I want to give them, and no one will question it, kind of like Genshin Impact. Because like Genshin Impact, they have all these different characters. They've got characters with horns, they've got characters with like elf ears, they've got characters with cat ears, and as far as I know, they just never fucking explain like the different lineages, because like they don't have to. They don't have to. But it's like, I would like to go a little deeper into that and justify it slightly, but at the same time, I don't want to go too deep. I just want to be like, hey, this is kind of why characters in this world are like this. This is like a little bit of the different lineages. But you don't need to know about all of that. It's just a little bit for some flavor. I just want to have little like characters with like little dragon horns and little tiefling horns and stuff, because I like it and I think it's cute. And I don't want to have to explain it too much. I can just be like, hey, this is a thing, and you just need to be okay with that. World building 101. Put stuff in your world and then just be like, I don't gotta explain shit. Just deal with the fact that this is here. Pointy ears are my weakness. Same. Like in this, like, you know, fantasy world I'm working on for like shared setting, I'm seriously considering just like not having humans in it. Just like everybody has at least pointy ears. Because that's more fun. That's fun for me. Is like, what if just like no humans though? What if there's no like human analog? And the closest thing to a human analog is like elves. What if there's just like no humans? What if everyone is just like a fantasy creature because that's more entertaining and Star says so? What if I just annoy every potential cosplayer? There's actually a comic that I used to read. It has since ended, but it's by a buddy of mine. It's called Geralt. And in that comic, the humans just have pointy ears, like long pointy ears. Just, I forget the exact like reason for it, but it was like something with evolution, like changed how humans look. And so it just over time, humans gradually got pointy ears. And so like all the characters in the comic are human, but they all have like these really long pointy elf ears. And I was like, oh my God, you can just do that. And I love that. And I'm like, hell yeah, you know what? You're so right for that. That is so correct, because pointy ears are superior, and pointy ears are really fun to draw, and I like a shape. I like when a thing is a shape. You could just have fun. Exactly. I know. It's like a crazy concept, right? Crazy concept. Legend of Zelda is sort of like that with the Hyruleans. Like with the Hylians, yeah, kind of. And you know, like Zelda has like the different, like they've got like the fish people and the bird people and the rock people and the women. I love that, like I you know, I'm thinking just like Breath of the Wild. You know, that universe, that version of the Zelda timeline is the one I'm most familiar with, because that's the one I've played most recently. But there's you know, there's the Hylians, which are like your human analogs, and then there's the rock people, the Gorons, there's the fish people, which are the Zora, There's the bird people, which is the Rito, and then there's the one where they're just women, where it's just that they're all women, and that's all of it. The main creatures: fish, birds, rocks, and women. Tell me I'm wrong. Look at me in the eyes and tell me that I'm the Gerudo. Yes, thank you. That's their name. I was blanking on the name for some reason. I was blanking on the name, but yes, I've always loved that, like, yes, this is like our fantasy race where it's like they're all women except for the one guy, and the one guy is like always evil. Like, okay, Zoldo, whatever. Whatever, Zoldo. Do whatever you want, I guess. I love women, me too. I just always thought that was kind of fun. What's your fantasy trait, women? The 4 elements: water, earth, air, and women. Yes. The evil gene is on the Y chromosome. That tracks. Oh no. Oh no. The Gerudo are also extremely tall. No, yeah, I know. It's just like the Gerudo, if you think about it, the Gerudo, they don't have pointy ears, do they? Or do they? I've never paid that much attention to what their ear shape is like. Hang on. I'm looking this up. I'm looking it up. No, they have pointy ears. Okay, I was wrong. They don't have pointy, or they do have pointy ears. I couldn't remember. But yeah, I mean, aside from the pointy ears, they're basically, like, they're very similar to Hylians. They're just, like, very tall. I think Ocarina of Time had round ears. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. But yeah, no, I just love fish people, rock people, bird people, humans with pointy ears. And then there's these separate other pointy-eared humans that are, their thing is that they're all women. And we love that for them. All women except for the one. And we don't like him. Because he keeps trying to take over the world for whatever reason. He's just doing his thing. And people keep drawing him really sexy on the internet. Coming up with AUs about what if he was hydrated and not evil. How to improve any fantasy world, add hot women. I mean, honestly, not wrong. I can't argue with that. But also, that doesn't need to be fantasy. Any world can be improved by adding pretty ladies to it. Yippee! Any other franchises you're into aside from D&D? I mean, yeah. I'm just... Okay, I actually had a moment of this, because I went out with some friends a while ago. I think it was a little over a year ago, actually. And this was like a fellow comic artist friend, and we hadn't hung out like too much, aside from like at conventions. But we were out to dinner, and we were like actually getting a chance to talk for the first time. And she was just like, yeah, like, I follow you on social media. I see you like post your drawings all the time, but like, what fandoms are you even in? Because she's like very, very into fandom stuff. And I'm very much like not so much. And she was just like, what fandoms are you in? And I'm like, I did not know how to answer that question because I've never really been like especially active in fandom stuff. Like there's stuff I like, but I think the last time I was like really, really, really into a fandom with capital F was Adventure Zone Balance. But that was like years ago. I've had like brief stints in other fandoms. Like, you know, Somnium Files took over my brain for like a month. And I was into Magnus Archives for a while there, back when the first show was first, like, around the time we hit like seasons 4 and 5 is when I started getting like really into it. Cause I kind of fell off. I got really into Magnus Archives and I caught up around the time they were like airing season 3. And then I kind of dipped out of it for a while. I came back and there was like a whole fan base for it. And I was like, whoa, something happened here. And then I got back into that one for a while, like up until the show ended. But these days, I'm mostly just kind of into my OCs. What fandoms are you in? Mine. It's like, you know, I've been sitting here and like kind of wishing that like I was more into like series and stuff. Because I just remember how much like Adventure Zone just gripped my fucking brain and just how much I drew during that time. And you know, like, I love drawing for my OCs and stuff too. But I kind of want something to just like grab my brain like that again. But it's been a while. My tastes are very, very niche and specific. And even then, like, if I find something that like really gets me going, even then it's hard for me to like get too attached for whatever reason. The thing with Taz happened to me as well. Now the brain grabbing thing for me is Castoff. That is so flattering to hear. I always get like so excited whenever people tell me that like they like the comic so much that it's become like kind of a fixation for them, and I'm just like, "Aww, you like my thing that much?" It's just it's very flattering. And it does make me really, really happy. I'm maybe bad at expressing it because I'm shy and not good at words, but I just that means a lot, and I'm really happy that people like my thing that I make, my little guys that came out of my brain. I'm glad that people like them. I'm glad that people like them, my little guys. Oh boy, now the chat's moving real fast. I read the entirety of Castoff on Webtoon last night, and the autism is gripping me by the neck. Yeah, that's me. Grab. My poor friends know too much about a comic they never read. Castoff. Yay! Get them to read it too. Corrupt their minds with cute little guys. I've been finding myself briefly obsessed with a thing, draw the thing like crazy for a few weeks, then go back to my own OCs. I used to be obsessed with one thing for years. Yeah, I mean, the first thing you described is kind of just how I've been for a while. As long as I can remember. Like, I never really got into fandom stuff too much when I was a kid. To the point where it was just like activating my creative side so much. Taz was like the first like big thing that got me into it. And, like, I really liked Tokyo Mew Mew as a kid. I really liked Full Metal Alchemist as a kid. I really liked Danny Phantom as a kid. But I was never really active in fandom back in those days because I didn't know what that was. That wasn't really a thing. I wasn't like on the internet back then. I didn't really discover fandom until college. And at that point, like, there wasn't a whole lot that really gripped me. Like, I loved Idolmaster, and I watched and read, well, not read, but I watched a lot of Idolmaster related stuff. But I never really like drew too much for it. I wouldn't say that I was really like active in the fan base for Idolmaster, because there wasn't really one in English. It's not really popular over here because Bandai has never localized it and likely never will, and I hate them for that. But yeah, the thing about just like being so obsessed with your own OCs is you can just make exactly what you want to do, but you gotta do fucking everything around here because they're your characters. So if you want stuff for them to exist, you gotta make it. It's like, damn it. Damn it. My friend and I just talk so much about Castoff and what's left of us. Oh, I'm glad! Thank you for enjoying our things. Yippee. I read all of Castoff on Sunday and ordered the Vector plush literally 5 minutes before the thing ended. Oh my goodness. Jumping in right at the finish line there. That's actually a thing I can talk about really quickly. So the makeshift campaign went super duper well, and so thank you to everybody who got yourself a Vector plush. Those should be shipping in July, and I hope you guys love them when they eventually arrive. I did order a couple of extras. So I ordered like 10 extra vectors just for me. 10 sons. But what I'm thinking about doing is I'll probably bring them to conventions in the future. I won't have them until after they release, so I won't have them at like C2E2 or MomoCon or anything. But I'm thinking I might do, like, I'm not sure exactly what I want to do with them yet. I might, like, sell them at conventions. There's part of me that wants to do, like, some kind of charity auction or something. Maybe, like, sign a few plushies and, like, do a raffle or something. But I gotta look up what the rules are for, like, online raffles and things of that nature. Because I know there's, like, rules about it. But I think that, like, some sort of charity thing, like charity auction, charity raffle, something like that might be a fun thing to do when the plushies come out. But that won't be a thing for many more months because the plushies are not releasing until July. So don't hold your breath. But that is a thing. What I will say though is that, you know, Makeship likes me now. They think I'm cool. So keep an eye out for updates. Wink. 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 Here's my water. But no, working with Makeship was awesome. They've actually already paid me. Like, it was so fast. Like, the day after the campaign ended, they were like, hey, we've got money we can throw at you now. Here, you want this? Take it. And I'm like, okay, Jesus, okay. Here's my PayPal information, here. But yeah, so that was awesome. And they actually ended up, like, I had like a general idea of how much I was gonna earn from the plush campaign, but it actually ended up being more than I thought it would because so the way that it works is the creator gets a percentage, and I wasn't sure if they were gonna calculate my percentage from like before or after they subtracted all the costs for like manufacturing and stuff. I assumed it was gonna be after. So it's like, okay, we'll subtract all of the costs of like manufacturing and shipping and da-da-da, and then we'll take all the net profits and we'll take your percentage of the net profits and give that to you. Turns out, no. They calculate the creator's share before they subtract anything. So I ended up earning a pretty good amount for the Vector plushies, and I am going to be immediately dunking all of it into the closing costs on my house because that shit is expensive. But I'm very grateful and I'm very excited about that. So thank you to everybody who bought one of those plushies. Hey, Makeship, can't wait to do more stuff. Wink. Wink. Yeah, they're stuck with me now. Listen, I've got an entire cast of webcomic characters and some little D&D guys. And there's some people out there who want a Star Carmine plushie eventually. So, you know, I want to have a shelf eventually that's just all my little guys lined up in a row, and that's the dream. Kind of funny that Vector helped buy you a house. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to cover all the closing costs because closing on a house costs a lot of dollars, but it's going to put a nice and sizable dent into that cost, which I am very appreciative of because that's just expensive. But yeah, no, my son helped me buy a house. Good boy. He's providing. He's providing for his mother. Good boy, good son. Man, we really are gonna probably finish inking this before the stream is over. I love that for me. I'm saving the asshole corner for last, though. I'm saving the asshole corner for last. We'll get to them. Star, what do you mean by asshole corner? Don't worry about it. We'll get to them. I did say that this print was gonna have the entire cast in it, didn't I? Didn't I? But you already drew Ariana? That's so mean. Not incorrect, though. Not wrong. I would sell my soul for a Frankie plush. I don't think you'll need to do that. I think they're probably going to be the same price as the other plushies. You know, if they happen. I don't know. Ah. Okay. Look at Taryn. He doesn't know what's going on. He's like, huh? What's going on over here? Hello? He's just a little guy, Your Honor. I mean, he's not. One of the things that I need to redo when I do the Volume 2 revisions is make Taryn less of a twink in those earlier chapters. My guy's supposed to be beefy, and I did not do a very good job of getting that across. Because I didn't know how to draw muscles back then. And so I just kind of gave him the same body type as everybody else. He's supposed to be a little bit more of a beefcake, though. He's a fight boy. He's a fight boy. Gotta have a little bit more beef on he. He's not like a fucking Dragon Ball Z character or anything, but got a little muscle. A little muscle. It's like Taryn has nothing going on in his head in a good way. Yeah. He's just thinking about stuff. What kind of stuff? Who knows? The whole like Taryn, my favorite aspect of Taryn's personality is that he's just nosy as hell. I think that's just like such a funny trait for like his kind of niche of character. Cause you know, he's supposed to be like, he's just kind of like, he doesn't think things through super much. He's just kind of like there to have fun. He's like a boy's boy. It's like a guy's guy, you know? He's not like the brains of the operation. That's very much Sonya and to a lesser extent Liam. But I just love that it's like, he thinks he's like a little detective. He's nosy. He just wants to know what's going on with everybody. He's like, Detective Taryn Ark is on the case. But he doesn't got anything up there to justify that. He doesn't have enough going on up there to justify that sort of behavior. And I love that for him. I find him very cute. I find him to be a very charming and fun character. I love Taryn. I love all of them in their own way. He's not the brains, but he's definitely the instigator. Oh yeah. the Watson equivalent. He's Watson. He fully thinks he is Sherlock. He fully thinks he is Sherlock. He is not. Sonia is. Sonia's absolutely the Sherlock of the two of them. So in reality, Sonia here is the Sherlock. Taryn's the Watson. I don't know who that would make Liam because I don't know those stories that well. Taryn fully thinks he is the Sherlock and that Liam is his Watson and that Sonia's like, you know, his partner in crime, which I guess would also make her Watson, but he's like, no, she's not a Watson. She's higher up the scale than a Watson. But she's, if she's not Sherlock, and she's like, no, I'm Sherlock. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Let him play, though. Let him pretend. Sherlock's brother. Listen, I don't know those stories well enough to go around assigning my characters to other stuff. Welcome to the asshole corner. It's trying to draw these two. They get to be on a piece of promo art for once. Oh my god, that's what was bothering me about your fucking face. Your nose is too high up. I was drawing this yesterday and I'm like, why? Whoa. Don't look at that. I have to do something really quick. Shit. Wait, is it? No, that shouldn't. Stupid. Okay, one sec. Hang on. I was like, I thought that my sketches were all in individual layers. I shouldn't need to isolate them. They are on individual layers. I just selected. Now, why are you doing that? Deselect those little shits. Those do not need to be part of this. Just move the sketch layer. Thank you. There we go. Jesus Christ, that should not have been so difficult. Anyway. Select the layer, Kronk. Wrong layer! Why do we even have that layer? Queenie and Briss. They finally get to be on a piece of promotional art. Because they've actually finally been in the comic now, so I can draw them. I mean, Briss has been in the comic before, but it didn't feel right to include him and not have the Queen there too. He wasn't as important as a character until she showed up, essentially. And we will be seeing more of them in future chapters. We got their bitchy little intro. And we will be seeing more of them later. When, Star? I'm not going to tell you that, because that is spoiler-ronies. So the fun part about the Queen's design is I did kind of design her like right before she showed up in the comic. But, you know, I did, like, you know, put a little bit of work into designing her because she's a major character. I wanted to, like, make sure that she looked cool. But also, she's not, like, a Blorbo that I love so much that I'm gonna put in my sketchbooks and stuff, you know? Okay, that's, like, not a great angle. Let's do... You gotta get your villains in there. So which evil Disney queen inspired her? None, actually. Appearance-wise, though, I can point to a very specific inspiration. Because, you know, when I was trying to come up with a hairstyle for this character, I was like, I want her to have kind of an updo. I want her to, like, kind of have her hair up in some kind of way. But what kind of way should I do? So, you know what I did, chat? is that I gave her the hairstyle of one of my favorite Idolmaster characters. So that's what I did, is I'm just like, oh, I'll have that. Yoink, hang on. I will show you guys what I have done. I took a sweet, innocent angel baby and I stole her hairstyle and I gave it to my comics main villain. Look what I've done. Look at this crime that I have committed. Look at this sweet little angel baby whose hair I stole and gave to my main villain. It's just the back, it's just the braids. The bangs are obviously different, but yeah. I stole the whole braids thing because I thought it was pretty and I liked it. And I'm like, I'm gonna give that to my villain character. That looks like a hairstyle that an evil lady would have. Hair theft is not a joke. Yes, it is. If it's not a joke, then why is it funny? Star sneaking Idolmaster references into her comic by stealing characters' hairstyles. Yoink. Wig snatched! Oh no! Oh no, that is what happened! Oh no! You're right! That is what happened! I literally stole it! It is quite literally. I stole the hairstyle. I snatched it. Oh no. What have I done? Oh, Jesus Christ. No, that's not what it was supposed to be. Ma'am, your crown is off center, and I've just realized this. I've just realized that your stupid hat's off center. Get over here. Scoots your crown slightly to the right. There. Now it's more center. Star said, I'm a yoink this. Yeah, and then I did. What do you do about it? I mean, listen, I feel like everyone's guilty of, like, stealing stuff they like from other pieces of media. At least a little bit, right? Like, my favorite things to just, like, yoink from other pieces of media are character names. If it's nothing too unique, sometimes I'll just, like, take a character name and be like, ooh, that has a nice, like, brain feel. I like how that sounds. I will hold on to that and possibly use that for a character later. I steal from myself a lot. Points at Emery, or points at Verity's name. Points at Ariana, whose name and design was kind of recycled from an older character that was originally for Sai and we never got to her. Yeah, Nico's name was, you know, there was a character named that in the Percy Jackson books back when I read those in, like, high school, like, 15 years ago. And I'm like, I like that name. I'm gonna just borrow that and hold on to it until I finally have a place to use that. Like, my cat's name, Milo, I just really liked the name Milo after hearing it in Atlantis. Like, I'm just like, I don't necessarily want to name you after this character. I just really like that name. So I'm gonna steal the name specifically. That's how I do stuff. Name snatch too, yep. I'm just gonna yoink that. And you know, I wouldn't ever do that with something that's, like, overly unique. It's always for, like, names that are just uncommon enough to be interesting, you know? Like, I would never name a character Katniss because that's too unique and identifiable, but you have a character named, like, Nico, and that's a cool name that I feel like I don't hear very often. Yoink. Just gonna borrow that. Yeah, I'm like the Fae. Don't show me an interesting name or I'll steal it and use it. Like, if you guys have read that Laz short story, the name Lazuli, I actually also stole from myself, because Lapis, or no, Lazuli was like the character of a Baldur's Gate character that I made and then didn't end up getting through Act 1 with, because I was making like a storm sorcerer. And I didn't end up liking that playstyle very much, so I didn't play very long with that character. But I kind of liked the vibe and the design that I had come up with. And then when we started that campaign, I was like, oh, I've got a character. She's not going to be a sorcerer anymore, though, I'll tell you that much. I'm just going to steal her name and some aspects of her design. The very first design of Lapis looked pretty similar to the Baldur's Gate character, though, except I very quickly was like, no, this character needs to be more of a wet cat. I thought it was Lapis Lazuli from Steven Universe. You understand that Lapis Lazuli is a rock, right? Like, it's a gemstone. Steven Universe does not own the copyright to the name Lapis Lazuli. It is quite literally a type of gemstone. Like, that's where the name comes from. You can Google it. And you will see the gemstone. But yeah, like, the very, very first drawings of Lapis were closer to the designs of the Baldur's Gate character, but she looked too competent, and I'm like, I need to make you more of a sad wet cat, because I have changed your backstory somewhat. I guess also just speaking of, you know, like, naming characters after rocks. I haven't used this for a character yet, but I do also really like the name Jasper. And I'll probably end up using that for a character at some point. Because it's just a fun, like, it has a good mouth feel, you know? It just feels good to say. And then Verity's name was almost Vesper. And Vesper I did 100% steal because there was a VTuber I liked whose name was Vesper. And I'm like, I like you, but I also like that name, so yoink. Felix, my bard Felix, little pink tiefling. I liked the name. I don't care about the character, but I liked the name Felix after hearing it in Fire Emblem. I'm like, well, that name's going in the memory banks. I'm not naming this character after this other character. I just like that name, so I'm stealing it. There's something about the name Felix for a girl that just I think is really fun. Star is fake confirmed. Yeah, I'm gonna steal your name. What about it? Steals your name, uses it for a Blorbo later. Don't worry about it. Look at these two. They're judging your outfit. They're judging your outfit. They're like, wow, you're so brave to wear that in public. Wow. I love how you'll just wear anything. You look so good. God, imagine. Nightmare scenario. We saw you across the bar and we have some critiques. Oh Lord. That is like the worst energy. It's perfect for them, but I hate it. If someone actually came up to me and said that, my fight or flight response would be activated. We saw you from across the bar and we thought that your outfit looked like shit. Oh man, there's some name stuff I really want to talk about. But it's spoilers! We haven't gotten there yet! God damn it. Ugh. I pulled some very clever name stuff in Castoff. In regards to like 2 separate characters and how their names are related to each other. But we haven't gotten there yet, so I can't talk about it! God damn it! Damn it. I really want to yap because it's like one of those little tidbits that I'm proud of where it's like it's only gonna come up in passing probably, but I'm proud of myself because I thought it was like a cool little tidbit and I like it. Damn it. Okay, do his eyes seem weird to anybody else? I mean, he looks like a bitch, but he's supposed to look like that. Let me zoom out on asshole corner. Give us a hint? No. Because hints would be spoilers. Look at this asshole. He's such a dick. He's like, haha, yes, I'm going to kill your whole civilization just because I feel like it and I love fossil fuels. Bastard energy. Right here. He's like, ha ha ha, yes, I've finally been deemed important enough to be in a promo piece for the comic. Ah ha ha. You can't get rid of me now. Star's drawing me really hot for some reason, and I'm just like trying to smother him with a pillow mentally. I'm just like, shut up, I hate you. I hate you, you're the worst, and I can't wait to see everybody in the comic just like gang up on your ass and beat the shit out of you, because that's what you deserve. The comic ends, and it's just like that one JoJo's Bizarre Adventure gif where it's just like everybody just steps on him and kills him. As he deserves! Zara, coping with tragic backstory and insomnia. His superior is oil! Yeah, basically. I love fossil fuels! Oh, say, can you see? Basically, I mean, listen, I have talked about this on stream before, and it wasn't something I had brought up previously, but I think that now we're a little further into the comic. It's on a scale of 1 to yes, how obvious is it that the whole, like, Magior thing is sort of an allegory for fossil fuels? Womp womp. I watched a documentary about electric cars when I was 14 and it changed my brain chemistry. And I'm just, the thing about Castoff is that so much of it is like directly stems from my own personal frustrations. And I think that the more we go into the comic, the more obvious it is going to become. I picked up on it. It hit me in the gut because I agree with your frustration. I am so glad because that was the point. Briss and the Queen also are just an allegory for every fucking asshole politician who has money and oil and is watching the world burn just because they want more money, essentially. Except they're not in it for the money, they just want things to be easier. They're just like, well, we're used to this and we like magic, so we're gonna keep using it even if it fucks up all of these people. But like, they're not important. And we like using magic, so sucks to suck, I guess. And it's just literally like, it stems from like all those frustrations with me of feeling like I can't do anything. Well, you know what I can do is I can make a comic where they get the shit beat out of them. The themes of colonialism is very obvious. That too. That also. Because it's just like, so much of like the themes of Castoff is directly related to like me seeing bad shit, you know, growing up as a kid. And like just seeing all this bad shit happen in the world and feeling like you can't do anything about it because you're just like, what, one young person from Texas? Like, what the fuck are you gonna do? Fucking nothing. And so Castoff is very much like a catharsis story where it's just like, what if all of that was concentrated into like 1 or 2 people and then you could kick their ass eventually? I would say that these characters are not direct allegories for like any one specific person. They're just kind of amalgams of like every fucking asshole. You know? Just like you can say that they're whoever you want in your fantasy before you kick their asses. But then you must, at the end, kick their asses. There's gonna be some stuff before we get there, though. I was just ranting to the mod team the other night because I was showing them the sketch for this. And there's, like, we're gonna get some more details with, like, the Queen and Briss and, like, what their whole deal is. And I am so excited for more of their stuff to come out. Because, like, I've said so in the past, and I feel like this is true of every good character, is they are like this for a reason. And I've already started dropping little hints. Little nuggets of hints. Little, just itty bitty little hints and foreshadowing. Itty bitties little things. And one of these days, like, I'm just gonna, you know, like, keep dropping little breadcrumbs, just like here and there. They're so small. Most people, I think, probably will not notice them on the first time through. But then once we get there, and you will look back and then you will see the trail of breadcrumbs that led to that point. And it's going to destroy y'all, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited. These two bastards and their lore is some of the stuff that I'm very excited about in the comic. Make no shits about that, but hey, OBS, do you want to, like, not randomly turn my stream off, thanks? Are we good? Am I back? I'm scared? You should be. We're gonna learn some stuff about them, and I am so excited. Make no mistake. Again, I don't want to give you guys the wrong idea. It's not going to be, oh, actually, the colonialists were right. That's not what the twist is. It's... We'll get there. 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 It's exciting. It's fun. Tee ha ha hoo hee ha ha. Alrighty. But with that, inks are done. Let's fucking go. I did not expect to get through all of that in a single stream. Love that for me. Here, let me do this really quick. Is vector on top? Yes, so we can. My son, where? Hello? Okay, there we go. So let's hide the sketch and then select all that. Okay, well, I would like you to actually select where I want you to. That would be fantastic if you could do that for me. And then we will, and then we'll, and then we'll, whoop, hey, and okay, well, that didn't actually help at all. There we go. I clearly need to adjust the positions of a couple of characters because there do be tangents, but looky there. Looky there. Yippee. I think you can write good villains who are just even worse assholes than you originally thought they were. Oh yes. Oh yes. You'll see. Trust, we'll get there. We will get there. But I think we're gonna go ahead and call it a day on this one, because it's just about dinner time, and I'm gonna go play more Fields of Mystery. We will probably be streaming this again, maybe on Friday? I have to look at my calendar. But maybe on Friday we will stream, like, the coloring of this. We'll see. But yeah, so thank you guys for joining me on this random rare Tuesday stream. I wanted to get some stuff done today. And I figured, like, I'm not going to be able to tomorrow, and then Thursday I'm going to be too tired because I've got a lot of stuff happening on Thursday. But yes, so thank you guys for joining me. I'm going to go ahead and call it a day. I will see you guys next time. Fare thee well, friends. Goodbye! I don't know where my ending screen went. Oops.